I want to start today with a question that I think just haunts every single early stage founder.
Yeah.
That moment where you have to market your product and you just think, I have no idea where to even start with social media.
Oh, it's the number one point of anxiety we've seen.
It's a maze, right?
Yeah.
You've built this brilliant thing, solved a huge problem, but LinkedIn just feels impossible.
Completely. And look, this whole deep dive is based on patterns we found from coaching, over 3,500 founders. And that feeling of being totally lost, it's universal.
Yeah.
They're building these world-changing products, but their strategy for telling people about it is, well, it's chaos. You post something, you cross your fingers, and then you wonder why nothing is sticking.
And that is exactly why we put this material together. We really wanted to get past that whole, gambling on a viral hit.
The lottery ticket approach.
The lottery ticket, exactly. And instead, install a simple, predictable system. The whole mission here is to turn social media from like a chore into a reliable machine for getting users.
And to do that, you have to start with the hard truth. The way most founders start out, it's designed to fail spectacularly. The reason you're getting zero momentum is probably because you're making three really fundamental mistakes right from the beginning.
Okay, let's unpack those.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure a lot of people listening are stuck on that treadmill right now. So culprit number one, the sources point to, is this obsession with chasing virality.
It's so toxic for momentum. I mean, the founders who stayed small were always the ones who sank weeks into polishing one perfect piece of content, just dreaming it would explode overnight.
But it never does.
Almost never. The sources are so clear on this. Virality is a black swan event. It's rare. It's unpredictable. And if you build your strategy around it, you stop building the actual habits that lead to growth. You're basically gambling, not building a business.
And when that viral hit doesn't happen, which is, 99% of the time, you feel defeated. You stop posting. It's a vicious cycle.
Yeah.
The second mistake you mentioned, I found this one really interesting. The sources call it the platform trap.
The platform trap. This is all about putting the platform before the people. So a founder sees that some app is hot, maybe short form video, and they jump on it without even checking if their niche audience is actually there.
Right.
If you're building, say, complex B2B enterprise software, your ideal customer probably isn't looking for insights in a 30-second dance video. They're on LinkedIn, they're in niche forums, they're reading deep dives.
So you're creating amazing content, but you're delivering it to an empty room.
Yeah.
Or at least the wrong room.
Exactly. Your message doesn't just fail to get traction, it fails to be seen by anyone who actually matters.
And that leads to the third, and you called it the most tragic mistake, the post and ghost habit.
It's heartbreaking because the founder often creates something genuinely valuable, a really unique piece of content. They hit publish once, and then they immediately move on to the next thing on their to-do list.
Which feels super productive, I'm sure. But the results
Are basically zero. The algorithms are built to prioritize what's new. So that amazing content you posted, it gets buried in hours. The data shows that publishing a high-quality asset just once leaves something like 80% of its potential reach on the table.
80%. Wow.
Wow. And without active follow-up, without resharing and repurposing what we call amplification, even your best stuff just vanishes. That's why it feels like you're starting from scratch every single week.
Okay, so if all that is what not to do,
Hmm.
what did the successful founders do differently? This is where the analysis of those 3,500 startups really got interesting.
The core insight was, well, it wasn't some secret hack. It was actually super simple.
Right.
The single trait they all shared was this. They found what worked content that only they could create, and then they amplified it over and over and over again, ruthlessly.
So they shifted from asking, how do I make a piece of content, to how do I leverage this one piece of content?
That's the entire game. And we have to nail down what unique content means here because it's not generic listicles.
Right. It's the raw, unfiltered stuff from the trenches.
That's it. Your unique content is irreplaceable. It's the story of that brutal pivot you made, the failures, the messy late-night lesson that a competitor or, an AI just can't replicate.
Or stories from your users, right?
Yeah.
Taking a customer's success and framing it through your bigger vision.
Yes. There's a great example in the source material of a fintech founder. They started out posting those generic articles, 5 ways to save on taxes.
And got crickets, I'm guessing.
Total crickets. Then they switched. They started sharing their specific, unique takes on these super complex regulatory headaches, things that only they knew about.
And that was the turning point.
It was everything. It's the mindset flip. You stop asking, how do I go viral? And you start asking, how do I get in front of my exact niche every single day with something they absolutely cannot get anywhere else? That specificity is what builds authority.
And when they did that, the reach just compounded. That one regulatory take wasn't just one blog post. It became a LinkedIn discussion. It became a Twitter thread, a newsletter snippet. It turned social from a gamble into
user-generating machine. And that transformation leads us right into the core of what works. A dead simple, repeatable 5-step workflow. This is the copy-paste strategy that replaces all that chaos and anxiety.
Okay, let's dive in. The practical stuff. Step 1, and you said this is the most important, is start with one only I can create this content asset.
This is your foundation. I mean, if you try to amplify generic content, all you're doing is amplifying noise. This piece has to come from your unique point of view. The sources say to pick one core type of failure story, a weird customer hack, a data breakdown nobody else has.
And there's a method to get past the blank page, right? The 30-minute outline method.
Yep, you just jot down 4 things. The hook, which is the pain point. The meat, which is the actual story or data. The twist, which is the non-obvious thing you learned. And a clear call to action. If it's a blog post, you're aiming for, say, 800 to 1,200 words.
And I love the pro tip here about authenticity.
Oh, it's brilliant. Before you write, record yourself doing a verbal rant about the topic. Just talk it out. Capture that raw excitement or frustration. Then transcribe it. Your real human voice gets baked right in.
That's great. Okay, so once you have that core asset, step 2 is all about precision targeting. Reverse engineer where your exact audience already hangs out.
This step will save you weeks of wasted effort. You have to know where your people are actually commenting and engaging. I mean, if you're building dev tools, you should be in specific subreddits, not trying to make a viral Instagram reel.
So the action here is to just use keyword searches on LinkedIn, on Reddit, maybe niche forums like Indie Hackers, and see where those conversations are already happening.
Right, you're looking for the digital water coolers. Your goal is to find the top 3 to 5 spots where your people live, not where the masses are.
And that leads to step 3, which you call the engine of the whole strategy. Build an amplification plan instead of a posting plan.
This is the multiplier. Publishing once is, according to this analysis, basically guaranteeing you'll fail.
Okay, so this is the blueprint. If you're driving, you might want to bookmark this spot. Let's go day by day on this plan.
Day 1. You drop the main piece, the blog post, or the video, but then immediately you follow up with support pieces tailored to each platform. So a Twitter thread breaking down the key points. A LinkedIn post with a personal, more reflective hook that asks a question.
The tailoring is so key there, isn't it? A thread is for scrolling fast. A LinkedIn post is for, more thoughtful moment.
Exactly. Then, day 3, you reshare the original post, but you change the angle. You tease it differently. Maybe something like, missed this lesson on the biggest pivot mistake we ever made.
Day 5 is the email newsletter. Using something like MailChimp, which lets you segment your list and personalize it, which is huge for open rates.
Right. And then day 6 is when you go into those niche communities, the Reddit subs, the Slack groups, and you frame your content as pure value, not as self-promotion. And you schedule all of this using a tool. Whoop Social is mentioned a lot in the sources for automating this exact plan.
Okay, that brings us to step 4, and this is the one that apparently 90% of founders just skip. Find what works and double down.
If you skip this, you're just guessing. Iteration is what makes the whole thing predictable instead of luck-based.
So how do you identify a winner? It's not just about likes, is it?
No, it's about user signals.
Yeah.
You analyze your DMs and comments. What specific sentence sparked a real question? You track signups that came directly from a specific post using something like Mixpanel or Google Analytics.
And when you find a winner, you amplify it ruthlessly. That means, rewriting it from 10 different angles? Turning that hit thread into a whole newsletter series?
All of the above. You stop starting from a blank page every single Monday. Which leads right into the final step, step 5. Build a week-to-week rhythm you can maintain.
Because consistency trumps brilliance.
Every single time.
Now, hang on a second. This sounds like a lot of work. The sources suggest this gets down to just 2 to 4 hours a week once it's established. That seems really low. The initial setup has to be more than that, right? We can't let people think this is zero effort.
That is a critical point. You are absolutely right. The setup phase is intensive. Getting that first piece right, building the first amplification plan, that might take 10, maybe 15 hours that first week.
Okay, that's more realistic.
But the 2 to 4 hours is the maintenance rhythm once the machine is running. The successful founders describe their week like this. Monday is creation. Tuesday to Thursday is just scheduling the amplification plan in a tool like Whoop Social.
So that part's automated.
Mostly. And then every day you spend 15 minutes on crucial engagement, replying to every single comment, sliding into DMs, and Friday is for looking at the analytics and planning the next piece. That structure is what prevents burnout.
That structure is what turns the chaos into clockwork. Okay, so once you have the system, you just have to avoid falling back into the old traps. Let's just quickly run through the 7 biggest mistakes.
Okay. First, chasing viral posts. It's a bonus, not a strategy. Second, switching platforms too fast. You scatter your effort and become invisible everywhere. Just stick to 2 or 3 spots and go deep.
Third, publishing without amplifying. We've covered that. You're leaving 80% of your reach on the table. Fourth, overthinking vertical video. A simple, authentic talking head video can often crush a polished, overproduced one.
Fifth mistake is copying tactics from the wrong niche. An enterprise SaaS founder can't use the same tricks as an e-commerce brand. It just doesn't translate.
Sixth, and this is a big one, ignoring your DMs. The warmest leads are right there. You have to slide in, offer value, and track it in a CRM like HubSpot.
And finally, number 7, falling for the omni-channel myth. Trying to be everywhere at once. The founders who won, they dominated 2 or 3 hangouts first. They built density before they even thought about expanding.
And you mentioned a few tools that make this whole thing manageable. Whoop Social is the hub for that amplification schedule.
Yeah, that handles the day 1, day 3, day 5 scheduling. But you need the whole stack. A CRM is non-negotiable for tracking those leads from DMs.
And an email platform like MailChimp for the day 5 newsletter blast.
And critically for step 4, analytics dashboards. Google Analytics, Mixpanel, whatever. Something to tell you which specific step drove the signups so you can tune the machine.
Plus, a simple project management tool, maybe Notion or Trello, just to map out that weekly rhythm so you're not reinventing the wheel every Monday morning.
When founders put all of these pieces together, the change is, well, it's profound. The sources talk about this feeling of waking up anxious, scrolling through competitor feeds, just feeling like social media was a burden.
But after implementing this workflow, the anxiety is gone. It's replaced by a clear plan. Social stops feeling like this thing you have to do and becomes a system you can actually trust.
It becomes predictable, and that predictability is what fuels real, steady user growth. It isn't magic. It's just a repeatable process.
So here's your call to action. Implement this structure today. Take your last painful pivot or your coolest customer story and use that 30-minute outline method. Create your first core asset.
And then just commit to the rhythm. Use a tool or even just a calendar and schedule out the next 6 days of amplification. The thread, the reshare, the community drop. Start small, but be consistent.
And finally, I want to leave you with this thought. The biggest change described in all this research was when a founder's social strategy stopped feeling like playing blackjack and started feeling like tuning an engine. So look at your own work right now. What's one area that still feels like a total lottery ticket? And how could you apply this principle of systematized amplification to turn it into a process you can actually rely on?
This episode is brought to you by Whoop Social, the all-in-one social media tool that saves you time and skyrockets your growth. Stop wasting hours posting manually. With Whoop Social, you can schedule, publish, and track performance across every platform, all from one simple dashboard. Whether you're a creator, brand, or agency, Whoop Social helps you stay consistent, reach more people, and grow faster automatically. Don't wait. Join thousands of smart marketers and start free today at whoopsocial.com.